After 3 path-breaking editions, WION Global Summit is back. On the agenda are issues facing a global audience. Is work from home the new digital reality? Vaccines are here. What next? Who benefits from West Asia's new geopolitical order? Recession has touched all 5 continents. Who will make China pay? World leaders will answer these questions for you. WION brings you well-curated panels of top global thinkers. It's a one-of-a-kind hybrid summit in these unprecedented times. Join us in Dubai on the 24th of March 2021. For it's in times like these that the world must be one. WION Global Summit. Power play in a post-pandemic world. Odisha, world-renowned for its centuries-old temples and their architectural splendor. But it's the state's vibrant culture, which is as rich as its heritage, that also needs to be celebrated. Be it the handicraft, handloom, or dance and music, Odisha is a land that excels in art and craft. The art forms of Odisha are visual manifestations of its glorious cultural heritage.
Once upon a time, Odisha was known as Utkala, a land excelling in arts. The state's heritage is reflected in its paintings, sculptures, and handicrafts, and this rich legacy of art is thriving in many of its villages even today.
Whenever you visit Odisha, even for a brief period, I suggest that you take out time to visit Raghurajpur, a small artisan village. It's not very far from the capital city of Bhubaneswar, approximately 50 kilometers, which happens to be a 1.5-hour drive. Once you reach Raghurajpur, you would discover that it's a quaint village with a little over 100 houses, neatly lined up facing each other in 2 rows. Almost every house is home to an artist, and many of them are national award recipients. You can see them creating artwork while basking in the sun, bonding over the love for art. Although various traditional handicrafts can be found at Raghurajpur, the village is best known for its Patachitra art. It's one of the oldest and most popular art forms of Odisha. You can buy some authentic art straight from the artist. Patachitra is essentially painting on a piece of cloth. Artists mostly portray scenes from Hindu mythology and use bright colors for their creations. Artists are so welcoming that you can even sit in any house for hours and see them at work, intricately creating these tiny motifs. All colors used in the paintings are natural. Talapatra Chitra, also known as palm leaf engraving, is another fascinating and detailed art form that you can't stop admiring. It is one of the most ancient crafts of the world, and I'm so glad that this is thriving even today, thanks to these artisans of Raghurajpur. As you can see, artists use a sharp iron pen to neatly etch images on a palm leaf. It goes through a long process before it's ready. A close look tells me that intricacy is the highlight of this artwork. Artists also engage in making toys out of stone and wood, making them even more beautiful with these colorful hues. They spend days, sometimes even weeks or months, in creating a single artwork. They charge you for their labor and skill, so one should not bargain while shopping. That is the least we can do to help encourage these artists to keep their traditional crafts alive. The small hamlet of Pipli is another place that is a paradise for those who love art. It's located at a distance of around 30 kilometers from Raghurajpur.
The market of Pipli isn't very big, but it has a lot to offer. Tourists are really fascinated by the applique work perfected by the artisans. The applique work is among Odisha's most famous art exports to the world. It's basically a sewing technique that involves stitching a small piece of fabric onto a larger one to create a pattern or design. As with many other handicrafts of Odisha, the Pipli applique work was traditionally used during the annual Jagannath Ratha Yatra, or processions where applique umbrellas and canopies were prepared. But contemporary artisans also make wall hangings, lanterns, lampshades, bags, bed sheets and other utility items by using applique. Cloths are cut in various shapes, such as birds, flowers, leaves and other decorative motifs before they are stitched onto another piece of cloth. How fascinating! Carving stone into sculpture is an activity older than civilization itself. This art is thriving in Odisha to this day. I visit one such workshop in Odisha to witness the craftsmanship. Artists can create almost anything, from replicas of temples to statues of gods and goddesses to decorative figurines. Look at the precision, eye for detailing, and most of all, dedication. Delicately chiseling a piece of stone to create a beautiful piece of art, stone carving is fascinating to see. Odisha has been home to master stone carvers since time immemorial. The art dates back to centuries ago. The temples of Odisha and other heritage sites stand testimony to it. If you admire stone carving, chances are you will also appreciate another similar ancient art. I'm talking about rock engravings, traces of which can be found in Keonjhar's Sitabinji caves. Sitabinji is the only site in Odisha where you can still get to see ancient paintings that date back to the 6th century AD. Look at this, it depicts a royal procession with a king seated on an elephant. You can even see the sword he is holding. The painting lies between two giant boulders known as Ravana Chaya. There are also many rocks with Pali inscriptions. They say stones have a story for those who learn their language, and in Odisha you get to experience it. While some use stones to show their talent, others use metal to display their craftsmanship. The fascinating metal casting technique is quite popular in some pockets of Odisha, such as Kuliana in Mayurbanj district and Sadebareni in Dhenkanal. It's called Dokra art, which is essentially stunning metal figurines made from non-ferrous metal using a lost wax technique. Here are a range of items that can be prepared with this technique. Most of them are derived from folk culture. Others are utilitarian articles. They look antique and can easily find pride of place in your home. In Odisha, the crafts go beyond textiles, paintings and sculptures. The state also has a rich weaving tradition. Sabai grass is one material that is used in weaving. I visit the Gohaldihi village in the Mayurbanj district, where a group of 150 women is famous for creating a wide range of items using Sabai grass. They make wall hangings, gift boxes, bags, trays, lamps, coasters and table mats, among many other items. The products are attractive and are reasonably priced. The prices of the Sabai grass articles start from 20 rupees and go up to 25,000 rupees. Odisha has a rich repository of art and craft, and I'm pleased to see that different tribes and communities are still taking pride in it and preserving it for future generations. Located in Odisha's far west lies the region of Sambalpur. The area is well worth a visit, both for those interested in the great outdoors and for those looking for handloom products, as this is the home of the Sambalpuri sari. Sambalpuri saris made their way beyond the borders of Odisha decades ago. They have long been the outfit of choice for women in the corridors of power. Sambalpuri saris are made with a distinct style known as bandakala, a craft of tie-dye known as ikat. The motifs of these saris often depict shells, wheels, flowers and animals. Today I'm visiting the Banahar village to learn more about this intriguing craft from the weavers here, and if I can, I'll pick up a couple of saris to take home. The lanes of this town are narrow, and each and every home seems to house a handloom. The first step of making a Sambalpuri sari is to prepare the raw cotton thread bought from the market. This is done so that the thread does not snap while being woven. It also ensures a smoother weave and finally a more comfortable garment. The most creative part of the design process involves graphing out the design and figuring out where to tie the cloth over the threads to manage the pattern. This can be done in a wooden frame where the whole width of the sari can be worked on in one frame. The next step in the process is to use a tie and dye technique where a set of threads gets tied up to prevent certain sections from absorbing the dye, thus enabling the whole thread to be dyed to a pattern before the weaving happens. I chance upon a lady who is preparing to do this in her front yard, and she even lets me help out. After the threads have been dyed, they are separated and strung up to dry in the sun. They are then put through these spinning wheels and prepared for the weaving process. They are then mounted to the loom, where the skilled weavers get to work. Carefully adjusting the placement of the thread to make sure that the patterns align as they go along. The process is complex and requires a lot of training to master. Something that these local residents have learned as they have grown up, seeing these techniques performed by their family members for generations. The work is really labor-intensive and can take anywhere from a few days to a few months. It depends on the thread used, the level of detail in the pattern, and number of colors in the designs. This entire process usually takes more than 2 weeks to get completed. There are numerous variations of Sambalpuri sari. Sonipuri, Pasapali, Bomkai, Barpali and Bapta are the more popular ones. I find an old lady selling these in the village. And this is definitely something I would like to take home with me after seeing all the work put into making these beautiful creations. Handloom clusters are found in many places in Odisha, and unfortunately we don't have the time to visit all of them. But our next stop is Brahmapur, also called the Silk City. I'm told the city was introduced to silk weaving by the Mahuri kings in the 14th century AD. Less than 100 families are involved in the craft now. To find a few weaver families, we must search through the narrow lanes of Berhampur. We soon managed to find an area where families are working on producing these fine garments. To make a Berhampuri sari is a labor-intensive process and is usually done by 2 weavers working simultaneously on the same loom. The sari often feature the kumbha or temple design. Like the Sambalpuri sari, the Berhampuri has got the coveted geographical indication or GI tag, a certification that recognizes the place of origin of a product. The designs are often very colorful, with geometric patterns at the border of the sari, and often flowers are a part of the design. After the families have finished diligently weaving, the saris are then sold through cooperative societies in the city, and they are the preferred attire for festive occasions like weddings and festivals. These 2 types of GI-registered weaves are quite different in their look and feel, as the Sambalpuri sari has earthy tones often with animal motifs, while the Berhampuri sari has a silky luster to it, with bright, vibrant colors. No matter which style suits your taste, These handloom products are ideal souvenirs or gifts to take home from Odisha. Odissi dance has been around for more than 2,000 years. Yes, you heard that right. It is considered to be one of the most ancient dance forms in the world, according to archaeological evidence found near Bhubaneswar. Rock carvings in temples like the Konark Sun Temple also depict similar dance scenes in intricate details.
Definitely, if we are talking about Odisha, then it is the land of Odissi. And what you see in the temples, the different sculptures of the dancing girls on the temples, when you see it in the personified, that is the Odissi dance, and it goes back, thousands of years. And it recently has been accorded classical status, so it is definitely one of the world-renowned dance forms. People from all over come here and enroll themselves in different dance schools and learn.
In Odissi dance, facial expressions, body movements and hand gestures are all used to convey a certain feeling or emotion. These movements are built around two postures, one masculine, the other feminine. Movement of the torso is a unique feature of Odissi and is considered very important. For the feet and legs, there are also numerous positions used in intricate combinations. And all this comes together in units of movements that end with a particular stance. It's such an intriguing dance form. In 2020, the Odisha Heritage Cabinet passed a resolution asking the centre to accord classical status to Odissi music on the lines of the position granted to Hindustani and Carnatic music. Like Odissi dance, Odissi music is ancient and has its own characteristic features.
The style of delivery is very unique to Odissi. Odissi music, in fact, is always regarded as something that goes along with Odissi dance, but it's not like that. Odissi music is a standalone event, and it has a whole lot, just like you've seen the very fluid movements of the Odissi dance, exactly like that. The notes too do not hit you straight, they have a roundish kind of a presentation. So this delivery can, actually I wish someone could sing it and depict it. You will be able to understand, but the basic notes remaining Saregama Padhani, the style is what makes it different.
Mohono mono kiye mohila go. Mohono mono kiye mohila go. Aji mo asa brutha, aji mo asa brutha hoila go. Mohono mono kiye mohila go. Mohono mono kiye mohila go. Mohila go. Mohila go. Mohono mono kiye mohila go.
Chow dance is a genre of Indian tribal martial dance, which is popular in the Indian states of Odisha, West Bengal and Jharkhand. We have come to the Mayurbhanj district of Odisha, where a form of chow dance is performed. In other areas where this dance is practiced, masks are a part of the costume, but here we get to experience the dancers without the cover of a face mask, distinguishing the performance as uniquely Odishan.
we have chow dancers. So they're dancing with swords and shields. They also depict tribal life. So it's a combination of two. They have different sequences. So say there are probably 10,000 sequences, and now only 1,000 are even written down. The rest have just been lost over the years.
Traditionally, this dance is performed in an open space at night. The setting at the Belgaria Palace at dusk could not have been any better. It is set to traditional and folk melodies that involve a variety of drums and the reed pipes. The dance is rhythmic and full of energy. The performers swing their swords and jump to the music with full gutso. The themes for chow dances include folklore and stories from the Mahabharata and Ramayana. The result is a dramatic performance to the sounds of the drums. Moving on from Mayurbhanj, we now head to the district of Angul to see the ancient folk dance of Danda Nritya.
They are singing the glories of the Lord, but in between, so what should be the way of life? And how should one live? And what is bad, what is good? So all these are the content of the songs.
This powerful dance is a mixture of drama, song, music, and dance. It brings forth mythical stories as well as those of worldly life. On the show today, we have seen some of the most colorful and well-known arts and crafts from Odisha. But our journey of discovering Odisha will continue next week with another episode on the best of ecotourism and wildlife that the state has to offer.